And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, all about helping you understand your buying decisions, making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Save our hotline number. We'd love to connect with you and introduce you to our 80-plus categories of show partners. 813-917-1894. All you have to do is call or text off-air number 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
ConsumerQB.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors at ConsumerQB.com. And we got a great lineup for you today. We got Jordan Bowman from the AC Guy of Tampa Bay here in Tampa Bay, your preferred air conditioning supply company. We got Mike Murphy in the house as well, owner Murphy Auto Group, online at realmikemurphy.com. We're going to talk about gas prices, the auto industry. Is our consumer advocate for all things the automobile industry related, and also a little bit about metaverse and NIL, name, image, likeness, since March Madness is so hot right now. Diane VANCE as well, Fairway Independent Mortgage, your mortgage expert contributor, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Shows, helped a lot of our real estate buyers and sellers and investors, and also a lot of our radio and TV show listeners. So we're really excited. Got a great lineup for you today. Plus, feel-good story of the day. $436 million donation to Habitat for Humanity includes nearly $20 million for the Tampa Bay area. One of the hottest real estate markets on the planet, of course, Tampa Bay. A lot of people love to live, work, and play here, and more people are moving every day. So real excited about that. Before we jump into this great content, I want to let you know about a couple of our real estate property listings right here in Tampa Bay. We've got a hot listing, $1 million listing at 14626 Loredon Drive, Seminole. 14626 Loredon Drive in Seminole. This is a gorgeous property. It's on the peninsula. It's on the point. You're looking out over the intercoastal waterways. You got your own private boat dock. Take your boat to dinner. Enjoy this beautiful property here in Tampa Bay. And it's 2 bedrooms, 3 bath, 1,330 square feet. Double master layout, granite countertops. Too many upgrades to list here on the show. But you can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, I've been starting off the show with just a quick motivational minute here, and one of the things I want to talk about today is discover the power of your thoughts and words. This is very biblical. It's the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruits. That's Proverbs 18:21. So you've probably heard some version of that, but it's very biblical in the sense where, a lot of times in life we speak it into existence, and that can work for you and that can work against you, right? So you want to avoid negative phrases. Like so many times you hear people say, oh, I can't do this, or I can never remember names. You probably heard somebody say that. So you want to flip that script, right? And focus on empowering words and phrases that are going to empower you. One of the things I say every day, multiple times, is I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm so happy and grateful now that money flows to me in numerous ways from multiple sources. Think about empowering words and phrases and implement that into your daily routine and avoid the negatives. So that's a great verse there. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Proverbs 18:21. There's your motivational minute for the day. Let's introduce Mike Murphy in studio. Welcome back, sir.
Great to be here. And I love that Proverbs quote. I wrote it down.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
I'll give you one other thing. Never use the word but. Because no one remembers what you said before the word but, only what you say after but.
That's exactly right. It's big time. That's a great negotiation tactic and strategy. It's a really good one.
That's right.
Yeah, I love that. All right, Mike, so you got a lot of topics we can cover today. Give us a little teaser of what you want to hit on.
Ooh, yeah. So we're going to talk about the auto market. So tax time's officially here. So that's going to mean used car prices are peaking. We're going to talk a little bit about the net effect of the war in Ukraine, some inability to produce more gasoline at home, what that is doing to the average individual. Obviously, it's driving up the cost of ownership, but I do have a plan on how we can lower our cost of ownership.
All right, awesome. I love that. Mike Murphy, Murphy Auto Group. All right, going to the phone lines now as well. Diane VANCE, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Diane, welcome to the program.
Hey, Brandon, how are you doing today?
Excellent.
Good.
Blessed and highly favored. And yourself?
I'm doing great. So, yes, I'm going to talk a little bit about, matter of fact, tax refunds. It's tax time. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And also how there are more houses for sale according to the national average right now. So not a lot more, but there's some more homes for sale in the market.
Yeah, inventory is a challenge, and I'm excited about a project I'm working on to bring more workforce housing to the community, and that's one of the little side kind of off-air things that we're going to talk about too. But yeah, inventories is such a challenge. And, of course, real estate is so local, depending on the community, depending on what neighborhood. But what are you seeing out there?
We are seeing exactly what you're talking about, is that a lot of people are still trying to find homes. And so the real issue was that during the crash last time, the crash went in 2008, 2009. So the building, they didn't have enough homes to build in the next decade. So from 2010 to 2020, they did not build enough homes for all the millennials and all the people that were getting of age to purchase a home. Now remember, millennials used to live at home with their parents. Well, they are starting to buy, or they have been buying. So there's not enough homes for sale, not enough homes being built. The supply chain has caused a lot of issues in the building process. A lot of builders have either slowed down, or they aren't taking contracts, or they have escalation prices in their contracts and things like that. So it's all kind of like a perfect storm, right?
Yep.
So what's happening is, of course, that's why the Fed is talking about raising rates. Now, the rates, it's not a direct, when it says they raise it by a quarter point, that doesn't mean your interest rate changes exactly by a 0.25%. It does affect interest rates, but it isn't a direct, exact. I had a customer tell me, hey, wait a minute, my rate's only supposed to be a quarter higher. Anyways, but
no.
it does not follow exactly. So, but it does affect it long term. They're trying to slow down inflation, which is about supply and demand, and there's a lot of demand and there's not enough supply. So this too shall pass one day, as soon as we get some supply chains open, and actually, depending on what happens in the world, which unfortunately is probably not helping, but it's all, it's happened to us before. Unemployment figures are the unemployment is the lowest since 1969. I think that's what I read today. I think that's the year. It's something crazy, like in the 60s. And so employment is very strong. Employers are trying to keep their people. They don't want to, they're not firing them because they need people. Right. I don't know, you go all over and it says help wanted and all those type things. But we're definitely seeing we're seeing some houses come on the market. They still are going very fast. I always preach to people, make sure you plan, make sure you get ready. You want to make sure you're ready, so when you do find that property that you actually, able to get, you're ready to go. We offer a program that can get pre-approved ahead of time, a full approval, and then so it can compete against other offers, so you are done as a buyer. We actually have a test that we're doing out in Colorado. I'll share that once I find out the results, but it's pretty cool. Fairway's actually doing some very creative things for sellers to actually sell their house and then buyers to buy it. So there's a lot of things that we're doing as a company trying to get some movement in the market to get sellers to start to actually sell their property. So, more to come on that when the test is done and we actually have the facts.
Nice. So, that's awesome. I like that.
Yes.
So we're talking with Diane VANCE here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Brimes, and she is a regional manager with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, online at DianeVance.com. And Diane, I think it would be advantageous for us to talk a little about what you meant when you said full approval, because a lot of times people are calling up or maybe clicking online, some of these these so-called fast lenders that they'll just pull a quick credit pull and then call that an approval, right?
Yes, and that is not a full approval. So what I do, or what we do, we're local in the market, and what we do, and you're going to get me or my assistant, one of us are going to help you. So we have a very tight team. We try to be there for the customer. You're not going to call in and get somebody different every time. We all work together as pod teams. And so what we do different is I totally approve you up front. and I run you through an automated system called, it's an automated AUS system, automated underwriting system. But we take it one step further, because you still have to go through underwriting. Underwriting is where we have our underwriters go in, they follow our findings, and then they make sure you're all ready to go, right? So they give you a written approval, you're ready to buy. So what we do, typically you have to wait till you have a contract to do that. But what Fairway has done is it's called an Advantage Plus program, because there's a lot of cash offers out there and things like that. And let's face it, when somebody closes at closing, it's cash, whether it's finance or whether it's cash. So the big question is exactly what you've said, Brandon, is that online lenders sometimes just pull your credit. That's not an approval. We actually go two steps further. One is to get your documentation or to get a verification of employment. Make sure your employment is actually exactly what we thought it was. And go ahead and get you a full commitment so that when you go out to that seller, you are done on your finance. And all we have to do is have the appraisal, the title, and the homeowner's insurance. So you can have a fast closing, and it's all done.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. When you're a listing agent and you're receiving these offers, a lot of times it's multiple offers, you're going through kind of a checklist like, okay, what are the terms? What about the inspection? Who's the lender on this deal? And what are the terms of that lending? And so many different checkpoints in that process. And then you're weighing them out. You're saying, okay, well, this is a national lender. They're top 3 in the country. So all those different things come into play. And then when you're also thinking, hey, this might be cash comes into play at a certain level. So these full approval are pretty close to a cash deal, is what you're saying, Diane. Yep.
There's no surprises for the seller or the buyer or the buyer's agent. So there's no surprises. So that person is, they're all done. I mean, they get the financing out of the way and it's finished. So as long as they kind of stay in our parameters, of course, because taxes could be different or insurance or something like that, but typically it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And we kind of make it a little bit, so we have some room there. But, we do a lot of properties that way. So that is called a approval commitment is what it is. And an underwriter has signed off on it. So there is the only time it goes back is when you have your homeowner's insurance and when you have your title insurance and appraisal.
Yeah, I love that. And talk to me a little bit about on the investor side. So, of course, it's a great opportunity for people to buy duplex, triplex, quad. You can still do that as an owner-occupied, conventional loan. And then think about that. You're paying for one unit. You live in that for maybe a few years, couple years. And then you've got 3 income properties from the other 3 units coming in. It's a great way to, especially even for first-time buyers. I mean, can you elaborate a little bit on that, Diane?
Yeah, yes. Matter of fact, I'm doing one right now that's a duplex. And so he's going FHA because it's 3.5% down for an FHA loan, and he can buy a duplex and rent out half of it. So he doesn't have a lot of upfront down payment. So that's what he wants to do, and that's the way he's going to build his. He's going to live in this one, and then next year he may buy another one, and that's kind of what he's planning on doing is living in it and having the other person pay his mortgage or a lot of his mortgage, maybe not all of it, but a lot of it.
Yep.
So he's pretty much living mortgage free or rent free or whatever you want to say, payment free or close to it. So,
that's right.
So it's a really good plan for buyers, especially first time home buyers, if they want to move into one. It's a great first step to building your wealth in real estate.
Yeah, it really is, and as we know, real estate has built more wealth than any other industry, and especially over the years, it's an insurable asset. Of course, you can insure it: flood, rain, fire, wind, hail, all that. It's an insurable asset. It's going to appreciate, especially here in Tampa Bay. I mean, you look back into the 80s. It's funny. I've got a picture on my phone of an advertisement from my dad back in the 80s. He was selling land in Port Charlotte, Florida. And he said, Gulf lots, Gulf front sites, home sites from $15,500. Can you imagine back in the 80s?
No, I can't imagine it.
Yeah. So he owned a company called Southwest Florida Land Development. He worked at one point for GDC, which is General Development Corporation. They did. If you ever drive in some of those Northport area, Port LaBelle, Port Charlotte, all those roads that are out there, they had all that infrastructure put in. And I think what happened was back in the 80s, it was the S&L crisis.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I can remember, interest rates are 18%. So there, we weren't a global market then. We were just a U.S. market, and that actually didn't help things. And inflation was out of control back then, but it was for different reasons than it is now. So,
Right.
we definitely will. I don't think we'll. I would say I don't think we'll ever see those interest rates again because we are a global market. Hopefully we will never see those interest rates, but we did go through that, and it was a challenging time. But they definitely, it's definitely a different market. Everything has history, right? Every history,
Yep.
They try to connect history to different things that are going on. Well, and they try to go back into, it just depends on, all these things have happened at one time or another in the past, and we've always survived.
Yep.
And people do need houses, and people always will need housing. So, you're talking about the home prices appreciation. The median home price went up 11% year over year, from last year. So
Is that nationally?
Yeah, nationally, not
and Tampa
locally.
Bay was like 24%, I think.
Yeah. Locally, it's going to be different, and the average price is higher, than it was a year ago. So everybody's like, I'm waiting for prices to go down. I'm like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Diane, that's about our time for today. Diane,
All right.
best place for people to find you?
Is online, DianeVance.com, or my cell, 727-647-8199, and you can text me, probably the best way, and I will call you.
Perfect. So send a text or go to DianeVance.com. Thanks so much, Diane. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
My
Bye-bye.
pleasure. You too. All right, we'll take a quick break. We come back. We got Mike Murphy in the house. Murphy Auto Group. Talk about gas prices, metaverse, NIL. What is NIL? Some people still don't know. Name, image, likeness, and you can work with collegiate athletes. And he's an entrepreneur and innovator here. So really good content coming up. Don't want to miss it. Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to ConsumerQB.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. We are looking for real estate investors. We've got a new relationship bringing us a tremendous amount of off-market real estate investment opportunities. So text the word investor to our hotline, 813-750-0550. Off-market real estate investment opportunities. Text investor to 813-750-0550. Brandon Rhymes here, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, looking for real estate investors. Send us a text. Have you desired more income and more freedom in your life? Now is your time. Keller Williams Realty has just launched our own real estate school, and you can get licensed for free. I'm Brandon Rhymes, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And for the first 3 people who reach out, I will personally coach you. 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. ConsumerQB.com. ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty, right here in Tampa Bay. We want to be your number one go-to source for all things real estate, credit, finance, estate, and tax planning. Lots of attorneys that we can refer you to. And we do have experts in all types of great niches, technology. Today, of course, we're going to talk with Mike coming up here for the auto industry. Everything you want to know auto industry, truck, vehicle related. We've got Mike Murphy in studio as well. So Mike, yeah, what's happening out there, man? What interesting times we've got right now. You know, you got inflation just running away. People are just like, hey man, I'm paying more and more for my gas, my groceries, and I know you guys have some solutions over there.
We do. It's really an interesting situation. It's a perfect storm, unfortunately, against the consumer. We have no inventory. We have a raging war in Ukraine. We have $5, probably $6 gas coming, and then you got inflation that's absolutely out of control. You know, our last expert contributor did a great job explaining that home prices nationally are up 11%, and then you brought up Tampa. Here is 24%. Was that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
The average used car is up 45% year over year.
Wow.
So the most appreciating thing you may own may be your used car. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and it was great advice you gave last time. One of the last interviews we had, you talked about converting a lease. I actually did that. I converted my SUV, my Mercedes SUV, into a purchase, and I went in and it went pretty smooth. And they said, yeah, this is a good deal for you.
Yeah. How much extra equity did you find out you had in your lease?
Right. I think I had a few grand, at least $5 or $6 maybe of equity.
Yeah, and that's some money that no one really accounts for. You don't see it on a P&L. You don't see it on a personal balance sheet. It's truly found income. So if you're leasing a vehicle, swing by any Murphy Auto Group location or just any dealership and see what your lease buyout could cost you. More than likely, the vehicle is worth more than it costs you to buy out your lease. Instant asset.
So if somebody has a lease from a different dealership, or let's say a Mercedes or a BMW, et cetera, they can take that lease over to you and negotiate a deal, buy a vehicle from you, and then you would in turn buy that lease out?
Yeah, absolutely. So every lease has an immediate payoff. So as long as the value of the vehicle is greater than your lease payoff, we can execute that on your behalf, right? We just need a simple power of attorney, because the only thing that, if it's a BMW, that BMW Finance has over you is that current contract. So once they're made whole, you're back as a free agent, we'll say, and you can purchase anything anywhere.
Yeah, see, I didn't even realize that. I just kind of assumed. I kind of assumed that you'd have to go back to the place you got it from. That's interesting.
You know, it's a built-in retention tool by the manufacturer. You know, instead of people trading every 5 or 6 years, they come in every 3 years, and they feel this obligation to drop a Lexus off at a Lexus dealership.
Right.
And then once you're there, obviously all we need is an opportunity.
Yeah.
As we say.
That's right.
So let's talk a little bit about the time of the year. So it's tax time.
Yeah.
We talked about used car values being an all-time high. Well, let's talk simple supply and demand. With everybody with tax refunds, obviously you can use that tax refund for many different things, one of which is the acquisition of a new vehicle or a pre-owned vehicle that's new to you, right? So what that means is there's more people now that want a vehicle, so demand has gone up. And we know supply is at an all-time rock bottom.
Yeah.
So your car value, if you trade in now, will be at an all-time high. I would expect come the second half of April, literally after the day of tax season, April 15th, I believe, or 17th this year, you will start to see used car values return to something that reminds us of sanity. Please remember, in normal times, used cars are worth less every day than they are the day before.
Right.
Only in this perfect storm is your used car worth more. And that's just a very odd thing for a depreciating asset to all of a sudden be appreciating.
Yeah, absolutely. And get to know Mike a little bit better on his website, realmikemurphy.com. He's going to link a video there. ABC did a pretty cool, story, told your story, essentially. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure, yeah. It was actually the Fox station in Augusta did a fantastic job. I thought we were talking about some other initiatives, but it was a 30-minute interview. And Vincent Hill did a fantastic job. I'm convinced his job was to make me cry, although he failed at that. We started with, why are the dealerships called Miracle?
Yep.
Why are we a faith-based organization? Why am I a 37-year-old CEO that have been doing this for 15 years?
Yeah.
A lot of it has to do with my dad getting sick. He got diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is bone marrow cancer. It is uncurable. He was 60 years old. They gave him 3 years to live. But the name's Miracle because, that's a man diagnosis from a human being, and I'm sure he was very well educated and it's fantastic. But, the God we serve, he took an opportunity to work through the Murphy family to say anything is possible through faith.
Yeah.
And we expected a miracle, and we got it because he ended up living almost 12 years.
Nice.
And we would have taken those 12 years. Yes, there was chemo. Yes, there was struggle.
Right.
But he was like the modern-day John Wayne. He really lived his life the way he wanted to, and even exited that way. So we honored him with the name Miracle, wrote a book about him, And obviously, I grow my hair out to donate to cancer research, either Father's Day or his birthday, counting on which year it is.
That's really cool. We're going to continue the interview here. We're coming into our next break. It's a great story, realmikemurphy.com. And we'll be right back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Make sure you check out consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Okay, Brandon, if Johnny's ready, we can proceed. All right, everyone stand by.
4, 3, 2, 1.
listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, giving a shout out to our friends at Replenish IV Solutions. I'm going to visit our friends over at Replenish IV Solutions right after the show. Get hooked up with a vitamin infusion drip. They've got great nursing staff, and they'll hook you up. They'll go actually to your home or office as well. So anywhere in Tampa Bay, they've got multiple Bay Area locations. You can go in and get a vitamin infusion drip, and it's a great way to boost your body's immunity, which a lot of people are looking for these days. Replenish IV Solutions. Longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, we got a hot property listing for this segment. I want to let you know about a property that is back on the market, 9221 New York Avenue. This is 30 acres that I've got listed in Hudson. It's a great opportunity for developers, prime industrial land here in Tampa Bay. 9221 New York Avenue in Hudson. Great opportunity. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
All I've got to love for Love City.
All right, so we got Mike Murphy in the house, Murphy Auto Group. Mike, and we're talking a lot about gas prices today, and fuel efficiency is a big key factor for families just trying to survive. And that's what I hate about this, the printing of money, the inflation, the government, these politicians, these elites, wherever you want to point the finger. It's all hurting the middle class and the lower class.
Completely agree. One of my favorite quotes about politicians is politicians and babies' diapers should be changed frequently for the same reason.
I like that.
And Ronald Reagan said the scariest thing you could hear is, "Hi, I'm from the government. I'm here to help."
Yes, exactly.
So just stay out of our way, please. All right, so I said earlier we had good news. Good news, raging war in Ukraine, out of control inflation, $5-6 gas. So let's just focus on what we can control on. We can control the decisions we make. So here's the good news. The average person drives 15,000 miles a year. Let's assume they're driving a vehicle that gets 15 miles a gallon, because I can do that math. What is that? About 1,000 gallons a year, correct?
Yep.
Let's stop, because that went out again.
Yeah,
Okay.
Let's just stop.
Crazy echo.
You got an echo in yours?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are we still streaming live on YouTube, Facebook?
Yes,
Behind the Was that Mike? I thought I heard Mike. Or
listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Just joined the Keller Williams Sports and Entertainment division of our company as well. Really excited about that. Sports and Entertainment division is a limited group of 1,000 agents worldwide. And with Keller Williams, there's 200,000 agents worldwide, the largest real estate company in the world. So real proud and excited to be in that small group, that intimate group. We like to feature our real estate listings live on air, help our sellers profit more and sell faster by exposing the properties on multiple outlets, 80 outlets worldwide, thousands of listeners every day. 9221 New York Avenue in Hudson. This is 30 acres, prime land for development, industrial zoning on it. 9221 New York Avenue. Great opportunity, a blank slate for the business owner out there that wants to relocate their business, industrial area. And I believe you could probably put townhomes on there as well. That's what the last potential prospect was going to be talking about. So you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
All I've got's love for Love City.
I love that Kenny Chesney, Ziggy Marley mix right there. It's a pretty cool song. All right, so we are back here in studio. We got Mike Murphy in the house, Murphy Auto Group. And one of the biggest challenges right now are families trying to stretch that dollar. They're trying to stretch the dollar, make the money go further. Gas prices are up. Inflation is setting in. And, again, it's the politicians, the elites. You look at where to point the finger. And essentially, people are struggling. And the people getting hit hardest are the lower and middle income class people, Mike.
Yeah, I completely agree, and it's really heartbreaking. You see a perfect storm against the consumer when you think of a war in Ukraine, $5-6 gas, out of control inflation. So it's easy to kind of get a little bit depressed. But here's the secret. Earlier in the show I said we've got good news. Well, here's the good news. Focus on what you can control.
Yes.
The controllable in the second most important asset you acquire, which is your vehicle, is truly total cost of ownership. So if you drive 15,000 miles a year, and I can do this math, let's say your vehicle gets 15 miles a gallon. You're going to buy 1,000 gallons of gas a year, correct?
Yep.
And if gas is at $5 a gallon, your annual fuel cost is now at $5,000. That's about 120% of the average rent factor nationally. So here's the good news. The good news is you don't have to drive that car getting 15 miles a gallon. Murphy Auto Group, that's made up of Toyota, Nissan, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. We have 4 true EVs now. We have over 13 hybrid and plug-in options. We have 52 different models that get over 30 miles a gallon.
Wow.
So let's just say you didn't want an EV, you didn't want a hybrid, you wanted an entry-level Corolla because we're focused on total cost of ownership. And it's going to get well over 30 miles a gallon. But for this example, let's assume it only gets 30 miles a gallon. Your total cost of ownership, total fuel cost annually was $5,000, is now $2,500.
Nice.
So let's just say you want to spend a little bit of that on yourself. That's fair to say.
Yep.
So we're still getting a Corolla, but we're going to get a Corolla S. We're going to get the best of the best. We're going to get the XM radio, the leather, lumbar support, all those things, and we're going to spend an extra $100 a month in our car payment. We're still saving $1,300 a year with out-of-control gas.
Yeah.
With uncertainty and inflation, with a crazy little gremlin in Russia. So what do? We focus on what we can control.
Yeah.
Now let's say we want something that's a hybrid. We can double these numbers again, and you can be going from $5,000 to about $1,500. What do you want to do with that extra $3,500 a year? I think that's impactful because that's $300 a month. If inflation's up 7-10% year over year, that can help offset the cost of inflation.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you can help folks buying in many different areas. You have multiple locations across the Southeast, I believe.
Absolutely.
Talk about that. People can go in, visit with you, and talk to your staff, and you can help them.
Yeah, absolutely. My home is in Tampa. We sell 30, 40 cars in Tampa every month by delivering them from our locations here in Florida. Our closest location is Haines City, Miracle Toyota in Haines City, which is just minutes from I-4 and 27. Then as you go north, we've got a little golf tournament coming up in 2 weeks, so people are aware of Augusta, Georgia. There's Miracle Nissan in Augusta, Georgia, just a few hundred yards away from a pretty nice golf course.
Yeah.
Across the river in South Carolina, in North Augusta, we've got Miracle Toyota and Miracle Nissan in North Augusta. And North Augusta is one of the best cities that no one knows about. It is
blowing up. You've got a population growth in the 20% year over year. A lot of military retirees and amazing minor league ball team with the Augusta Green Jackets played right there in North Augusta. Lastly, we've got Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram just outside of Aiken, South Carolina, horse country. Specifically, the growing, kind of like Central Florida and Tampa, Graniteville, South Carolina. Graniteville's exploding also. So
Nice.
if anybody wants to invest in real estate, North Augusta, Graniteville, Aiken, great opportunities.
Cool. Yeah. In the Southeast, a lot of good stuff out there.
As long as people are moving into your area, it's good to start a business. It's good to own assets in those locations.
That's right. Yeah, we're talking with Mike Murphy here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of Murphy Auto Group, and online, realmikemurphy.com. And yeah, I want to go on and move on into some other stuff going on. So March Madness, NIL, we kind of teased that earlier. What is NIL and why should people care?
What's funny, people come up to me now that are not student athletes, like, hey, can I get an NIL deal? I'm like, you can always have gotten a name, image, and likeness. Anybody could have you could have come out of, O.J. Simpson, when he got out of prison, got a name, image, and likeness deal for a book.
Yeah.
But a college athlete until July 1st of 2021 was not allowed to monetize their name, their image, and their likeness. So this is specific to student athletes that are in college. And everybody thinks, oh, it's a way for the super successful to get mega rich. The Bryce Youngs, the De'Aaron Kings, Bubba Boldens. Shout out to those guys. Have a great draft. Love you guys. But this is so much more than that. Let's talk about March Madness. Let's not talk about the fact that, we're still in it. Sweet 16. Great job, guys. Let's talk about another Sweet 16. St. Peter's. I mean, completely destroyed my bracket. I don't know about yours.
Yeah.
I mean, like, threw a hand grenade in that thing. But if you live in Jersey City, I believe, and I had to Google this, you have an amazing NIL opportunity with a team that's getting national attention.
Right.
If you had, an AC shop, if you had a used car lot, if you were a realtor, if you had a pizza shop, you have an opportunity now to go into a St. Peter school that's won 1,100 games in the history of their program and make an impact.
Yeah.
Now, do you think a few $1,000s in Alabama matter? Probably not. How much do you think a couple $1,000s to the kids at St. Peter's matter?
Big time.
I think that might be the difference between, eating trail mix and going out and having yourself a steak. Legally, we can do this now.
Yeah.
Take care of your community and then tell people. It's the best form of advertising because not a whole lot of people believe what we say on traditional media anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
But they'll believe your actions.
Right, yeah.
So sponsor the average person.
That's really cool. All right, we got about a minute left, but I wanted to touch on Metaverse real quick because last time we kind of mentioned that, or maybe it was off air where we were talking.
Yeah, I think we teased it a little bit. So everybody's like, Murph, you bought land in the Metaverse? Are you a Metaverse real estate agent? No, but hopefully you can be, or my wife can be, somebody can be.
Yep.
There's an opportunity there. But the Metaverse, think of the Metaverse as a solar system.
Yep.
So a solar system made up of multiple planets. So any single metaverse is a different universe digitally. So think of a planet like Sandbox, that's a metaverse, or Decentraland, that's a metaverse. And inside this metaverse, a lot like blockchain, you have a limited amount of dirt. So as you acquire land, it will obviously appreciate as demand for interactivity in the metaverse occurs. So for me personally, I see as an example being able to buy real estate, physical real estate in the metaverse. You got your Oculus glasses on, you're walking around, you're like, damn, is that the consumer quarterback? And you walk into his, it's like an art gallery.
Yeah.
And you've got these digital portraits up, and it's of your physical land. Hey, I got this 30 acres in Hudson. It's amazing. And right there in the metaverse, in your goggles, you're swiping through, you're walking around, you're looking at it. And if you want, and the seller wanted, we could be doing this transaction, a lot of things other than U.S. dollars.
So are you doing the deal inside the metaverse only, or am I able to market outside real property assets and sell them in the metaverse?
Both. You can do it either way. You can sell real assets in the metaverse, or you can sell a NFT or a digital asset in the metaverse that comes with the physical asset in the universe for free.
Yeah.
I'm flirting with the idea of, would you be interested in buying a used car, driving around the metaverse, and the actual real car shows up in your driveway?
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's half Bitcoin, half U.S. dollars, whatever
That's
my
cool.
attorneys say I have to do.
That's cool, man. Awesome. Well, that's good stuff. We got to leave it at there. But back to you. How do you want people to connect with you? I know you've got a lot going on Instagram and other social sites.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple great things. My buddies that created Hoobie has a great platform that's HOO.be. It's like Linktree on steroids. You can find all my media there. Social media, obviously the easiest way is on Instagram at The Real Mike Murphy. That's not it's just at Real Mike Murphy. Please check out all the teachings, all the educations. It's all free. My desire is to pass on all the education that my mentors gave me.
Very good. Awesome, man. Good stuff. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming in. All right, quick break. When we come back, we've got Jordan Bowman and Service Manager Dan in the house as well from the AC Guy of Tampa Bay. You've heard Greg over the years as well. So we're going to talk about things you can do to take care of your unit, your AC unit, and other consumer advocate tips right here coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Plus, our feel-good story of the day, $436 million donation to Habitat for Humanity includes nearly $20 million for the Tampa Bay area. We'll be right back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. Any of our listeners out there, we'll offer you a 2% listing for the first 3 callers that reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. Call or text the hotline, 813-917-1894. Also, a great opportunity for folks out there looking for a part-time gig, maybe a side hustle, is Keller Williams Real Estate School, powered by Kaplan. Reach out if you'd like more information on how we have a free real estate school for you, online class, get licensed, and start referring business in, or maybe make a new career. 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com for our syndicated radio and TV show on 80 outlets worldwide, consumerqb.com, or our real estate website at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And please follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram, Twitter, Getter, and check out our YouTube channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty. Make it a great day.
My name is James DeJerome, and I produce the Consumer Quarterback Show for Brandon Rhymes. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team, a group of like-minded professionals who partner together to provide our audience sound advice, knowledge, and information to make them wiser consumers. We work with all types of business owners and aggressively promote our local economy. We're currently conducting interviews for our expert contributors. If you own a business or know someone who would benefit from the exposure our show provides, please contact us at 813-750-0550 or online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We always like to tell you something positive here every day.
Tell me something good.
So $436 million, they're calling it a transformational donation. Of course, that is by Mackenzie Scott. Donated $436 million to Habitat for Humanity International, and then also locally here, $20 million for the Tampa Bay area. Mike Sutton, who has been on our show, is the CEO of Habitat for Humanity of Pinellas and West Pasco County, says that it's a great opportunity. Mackenzie's generosity and desire to support the Habitat for Humanity will allow us to further address the affordable housing crisis and combat the extreme increase in cost of home. So there's our feel-good story of the day. Big donation. And we're going to welcome in Jordan Bowman into the studio. Welcome in, Jordan.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
My pleasure. And also Dan, Service Manager Dan. Welcome in.
Hey, how we doing?
Excellent.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thanks for coming in. So AC Guy of Tampa Bay. We've heard Greg on the show over the years. Greg Bowman, the AC Guy of Tampa Bay. And Jordan, let's start with you. What's new? What are you seeing out there, and how are folks? When they think about the AC, what are some of the biggest misnomers that people have in your industry?
Yeah, well, we've talked about it before, but we'll talk about it again. It's the amount of times you need to maintain your unit. I think people sometimes can be reactive versus preventative. When it comes to your AC system, you're running that like all the time.
Yeah.
It is one of the most important things for you to keep maintained and make sure it's running well to catch problems and to prevent future ones versus responding when it goes down in like the middle of the summer, which is not a good time to be dealing with it. So.
Yeah, now would be a great time. It's, you're kind of coming into that heat part and get the checkup, and also you have your program that you have. It's your platinum package. I forgot the VIP program.
Yeah, we have that. Basically, what that is you pay a monthly fee, and it's like a service package that every 6 months we come out, no charge to you, and we do a maintenance for you. We also offer you discounts on repairs and discounts on our service fees, which is amazing because in our current market, with everything raising, our VIP program is the one thing that we can keep the same. So a lot of our clients are going to be saving so much money, and we suggest you jump on that because it's crazy right now. Things are raising and prices are skyrocketing, and we're doing what we can. So
and I imagine costs are increasing for you guys as well. Cost and trying to keep it. And I tell you one thing too, like we're a member of the VIP program, and every time it's just like clockwork. It's just, hey, here's a reminder. What's a good day for you? Every time I talk to the office, it's nothing but just politeness, awesome service. So we really appreciate that, and that's something that means a lot for customers. I think consumers nowadays, because that's not always the case with a lot of different contractors, and even to get sometimes contractors to show up, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I hear that from people that are building homes. And Dan, I want to ask the same question to you. Like, what are some of the biggest misnomers that you see from your position on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, especially with newer air conditioners, people tend to think the older equipment that used to last 20 years, hey, I didn't have to touch the thing. It's no longer that way today. Unfortunately, as time has gone on, we see how things have changed, as in, things are made, so on and so forth. So they require a more maintenance and more service to keep them running and be energy efficient.
Right. So they're made to a lower quality than they were, a lower standard than 20, 30 years ago?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just it's part of like the corporations, right? These corporations sometimes they just like, oh well, here's how we can provide a higher return to our shareholders. Let's skimp on that part, or let's outsource this, offshore that, and then the end product ends up being a lesser, more inferior product.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you see that over and over. You see it in lots of different industries. You see, I drive around and I see even like apartment buildings being built, and they're using that particle wood, that pressed wood. That's not good wood. That's not good material. But, these people are corporations. They're building it. They're going to sell it, and then it's going to be a rental for the rest of that property's life, most likely, unless sometimes they would convert them back to condos. Remember the condo conversions back in like 04, 5, and 6. That's what a lot of the builder developers were doing. But, yeah, there's something to be said for building it right and the quality and the longevity of that life cycle.
Absolutely. I mean, some air conditioners. So, I mean, there are some that I used to actually. I had some deception towards myself. Some ACs are actually built of better quality.
Yeah.
So all air conditioning works off a certain functionality. They all work the same way. I like to, whenever I talk to my clients, sometimes I'll say, if all air conditioners were different, how can I fix them all out of one truck?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Right. So there are more quality parts that you can basically install into an AC system than that originally came with it.
Oh, really? Okay. So you're basically upgrading the unit as you go.
Absolutely.
That's great. Absolutely. Yeah, that's good to hear. And Jordan, on the on the contractor tip side, a lot of times people come to us and they say, well, this contractor wanted a large deposit, or this contractor, different types of scenarios that play out. So what should people look for when hiring a contractor, or going into a situation where they're spending a lot of money? What's the common deposit amount that people would have, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, well, we have a typical like deposit amount. I think ours is anywhere from $500 to $2,000, depending on the size. I mean, you have to do that at the end of the day in order for a contractor to be able to order equipment, get a permit pulled for you, and do things according to code. We need a deposit. So I would say when you are going into the scenario, like figure out what that deposit is and then figure out what the fine print is. So like, when do I have to cancel by in order to get this deposit back? And like, am I serious enough about this in order to proceed forward? Because that deposit is getting your foot in the door. And then once you start getting those permits pulled and that equipment ordered, that's when you're going to see that deposit amount get whittled down and you won't be able to get the full amount back. So just think about that before you go forward. Realize that you are pretty much starting to take a step towards a contract basically with this company. And think about what that means for you.
Yeah, it's got to be fair both ways around.
Exactly.
And what I see sometimes, I remember talking with one of the roofing partners, is they'll come in, some of these fly by night type companies, they'll come in kind of the storm chasers, and they'll get a 50% deposit, and then they're gone. They're like, hey, I got 50% of the money and I didn't have to do the work.
See ya.
So that's the thing you got to be careful for, especially for these big jobs, and different scenarios out there. But yeah, Dan, so you're on the service side. So you're a service manager, you're overseeing a lot of the technicians. And, over the years of hosting this show, almost a decade now, we've been on air, where, you see there's a variety of different feedback that I've seen in terms of specifically with the air conditioning units, because sometimes it could be a repair, but then there's other contractors that will go out and say, oh, you got to replace this thing.
That's right.
Yep.
So whenever I see that, I explain to customers also, being an AC man or a service man it's very difficult. It's very labor intensive. So in this trade, we get a lot of new guys. They rotate. It's a rotational business. There's very few companies that have guys that actually stay and stick around for multiple years. And that's the question that people should ask. Say, hey, how many guys have been there for 10 plus years?
Right.
Because that's when you're going to get an honest guy out there and tell you the right thing that's wrong with it, and not get a misdiagnosis to where you're going to end up replacing a unit, for a large amounts of money, when it could only be $300, $400. I've personally been out multiple times, given an estimate with 3 companies behind me, that came in front of me, and it was nothing but a clogged drain line.
Wow.
So this lady's about to buy a $10,000 air conditioner when all she needed was her drain line clean.
Wow.
So that's the things I see a lot, man.
That's the integrity part that you don't know. You can't, especially for, like you said, maybe an older lady, she has no idea about anything on the outside of the home. So that's a challenge. We're talking with Jordan Bowman and service manager Dan here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, the AC Guy of Tampa Bay, online website, acguyoftampa.com. Longtime friends of the program, and you've heard Greg on the show over the years as well. So I think there's also a huge demand, or there should be a huge demand for, instead of children coming out, let's think about it as parents. A lot of times our greatest asset is our children, right? They're coming out of college, they're going to college in a lot of cases, but I think there should be a big time movement. I know Pasco, I've talked to a couple of the folks running on the school board up there and the county commissioners of bringing in more tech schools, more technical education. I think there's just such a tremendous opportunity for people to live a good life, build a business, build a company, and too many parents are pushing their kids to go to some of these schools, and of course some of the schools indoctrinate them into certain ways of thinking that aren't really pro-American, etc. But yeah, what do you think? What's your thoughts on that, like tech school?
Well, we were actually just talking about that on the way here. We were talking about it because I recently actually graduated from college, but I took a lot of time to go to college because I don't agree with the current idea of like just go to college to go to college.
Right.
And I'm not even using my degree with what I do currently.
Exactly. A lot of people aren't.
Yeah, no one really is. So it's like at the end of the day, it's you have to think. You got to go with what you think would be good for your future, and not just think necessarily like everyone's going to college. Let's just do it. And obviously, my dad, Greg Bowman, is in the field of this industry. So I've seen him not use his degree either and be using like trade school kind of stuff for this. So it's important, I think. So
yeah. Did you want to comment on that, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in school, it was not for me. High school, wasn't for me, So thank God my father owned an AC company, and I was kind of always a hands-on kid, and since school wasn't for me, didn't decide not to go to college. I stuck with the AC career, and I've talked to some of my buddies that went to college, and financially I'm doing pretty much better than they are.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, it's, it's the muscular class. It's the blue collar. I mean, it's something that America has really. A lot of the politicians, the elite class, at least has kind of turned its back on the muscular class in a sense. And they're incentivizing other places. So in essence, when you're going to college, you're overpaying for a skill set or a degree that you may not ever use, that you can't find a job for anyways. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of the tech schools. People getting out there and learning the trades. You need plumbers, electricians, AC guys, and all that good stuff. So thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Always a pleasure. Jordan Bowman and Service Manager Dan here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, AC Guy of Tampa.com. Reach out to the hotline. We'd love to put you in touch with them as well. And make sure you follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter and Getter. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another and be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at ConsumerQB.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.